Today, we're going to talk about a love story that is, well, it's unlike anything you have ever heard before. It's about a marriage, a family, and a silence that went on for 2 entire decades.
Okay, I want you to just imagine something for a second. You share a home with someone, a whole life, all your meals.
And you even raise kids together. You've built this entire life, right there, side by side.
Now imagine doing all of that, but without saying a single word to each other. Not a good morning, not a how was your day, just absolute silence.
This isn't some hypothetical situation. This is the real story of Oto and Yumi Katayama from Japan, and a silence that unbelievably stretched on for 20 years.
So how on earth does something like this even happen? Well, our story kicks off back in Nara City, Japan in the 1990s.
Oto and Yumi were, by all accounts, a totally happy, totally normal couple. They met, they fell in love, got married, and then they had their first daughter. Everything was going great. But then, in 1997, right after their second daughter was born, something just broke. Oto just stopped talking to his wife. Cold.
And that's the question that just hangs over this whole story, right? What could possibly make a husband completely and totally shut out his wife for 2 decades?
Well, it wasn't one big dramatic fight. Nope. It was this slow burn of resentment. Oto started to feel neglected. He felt like all of Yumi's attention had shifted to their kids, and this feeling just festered and grew into a 2-decade-long sulk. So, what did this silent protest actually look like in their daily lives? I mean, this wasn't just a quiet phase. It fundamentally changed the DNA of their family.
And here's what's so wild about it. This silence was laser-focused. Okito wasn't some recluse. He had normal conversations with his kids, his neighbors, his coworkers. But when it came to Yumi, his wife, all she got were maybe some grunts, a few nods, and mostly this crushing, heavy wall of silence.
I mean, can you even imagine Yumi's reality? Every single day, she tried to start a conversation, and every single day she was met with nothing. Then in 1999, they had a son, Yoshiki, who literally grew up never once hearing his father say a word to his mother. And through all of this, Yumi never gave up. She always believed that one day he would talk to her again.
After 18 years of watching this happen, their son Yoshiki decided enough was enough. He couldn't just stand by anymore. He came up with a pretty desperate plan.
So Yoshiki, who's 18 at this point, writes a letter to a TV show telling them this unbelievable story, and the show actually agrees to help. Here was the plan. They had Yumi record a video message asking Otoa to meet her at Nara Park, the exact spot where they had their very first date. And when Otoa saw that video, something inside him just shattered. He was overcome with emotion, and through his tears, he agreed to meet her.
So this all led to this one single moment. On October 11th, 2017, Oto and Yumi went back to the very bench where their whole love story began.
You can just feel the tension, right? A TV crew is keeping its distance. Their 3 children are literally hiding behind a tree, watching, just holding their breath, hoping for some kind of miracle. And there they are, Oto and Yumi, sitting on that bench side by side, just like they did decades ago.
So Yumi starts talking, sharing old memories, asking him questions. But for the longest time, Oto was just silent. You can imagine their kids thinking the whole plan had failed. That 20 years of silence was just too powerful to break.
And then it happened. Oto turns to Yumi, and in this hesitant voice, he speaks to her for the first time in 2 decades. He says, "It's been a while since we've talked."
And with that one sentence, the dam just broke. All the words he'd kept locked away for so long, they finally started pouring out.
And the reason for 7,300 days of silence? It was so devastatingly simple. He was jealous. He felt like he didn't matter to her anymore, that all her love and attention had gone to the children. He was, in his own words, just sulking about it.
So, with that truth finally out in the open, the long, cold silence in the Katayama house finally began to thaw. It was the first step toward a new beginning.
Otoa was just filled with regret. He apologized and promised Yumi they would work together to rebuild their relationship. From behind that tree, their kids just wept with relief and joy. And when that TV segment finally aired, their story absolutely exploded online. It captured the entire world's attention.
And public reaction, as you can imagine, was all over the place. A lot of people felt deep sympathy for Yumi, seeing her as this victim of emotional torment. But others, surprisingly, respected Oto for his loyalty, for not cheating. But I think most people agreed on one thing. This story was anything but simple.
And what about today? Well, Oto and Yumi are still together and they're rebuilding. They talk, they laugh, and their children finally get to see them as a normal couple, healing all those wounds of the past, one conversation at a time.
This whole story really leaves us with a pretty profound question, doesn't it? Is love only about the big gestures and constant communication, or can it also be found in this kind of silent loyalty, this unwavering hope, and just the quiet refusal to give up on someone, even after 20 years? It really forces you to ask, what truly is the language of love?